Have you ever witnessed a grizzly bear weighing over half a ton, standing silently in the freezing water, completely still, only to, in the blink of an eye, swing its massive arm and snatch a salmon leaping upstream? That is the survival story that plays out year after year in the streams, waterfalls, and lower river basins of North America, where the salmon's epic journey to reproduce accidentally sets the stage for a deadly feast for one of nature's most legendary predators, the grizzly bear. No season is more important than summer. That is when salmon begin their final upstream journey, the last chapter of their lives, and it is also when grizzly bears from all over gather by the riverbanks. For the bears, this is not a time to relax. It is a battle to stockpile energy for the entire year. In just a few short months, they must eat enough to survive the brutal winter when the whole world slips into a frozen slumber. To understand how grizzly bears hunt salmon, we first have to look at the journey of their prey. Salmon are a remarkable species. They are born in freshwater streams, grow up in the open ocean, then return to the exact spot they were born to reproduce, and die. This return is one of nature's greatest migrations. Salmon swim hundreds, sometimes even thousands of kilometers, over powerful currents, jagged rocks, and tall, treacherous waterfalls, all just to fulfill their final mission: to keep their species alive. And that is exactly when the grizzlies show up, like predators who have been waiting all along. The salmon that are exhausted, weakened, or stuck beneath the falls become perfect targets. Grizzly bears do not need to be strong swimmers. They do not have to chase their prey underwater. All they need is the right position, where salmon leap out of the water, and perfect timing to strike. Grizzlies might be massive predators, but they are far from clumsy. Every salmon they catch is the result of instinct, experience, and skills they have been honing since cubhood. Bear cubs are not born knowing how to fish. They watch their mother closely, silently observing every movement, how she chooses her spot in the stream, how she lowers herself just enough not to create ripples, how she waits patiently for the first salmon to appear, and finally, how she pounces in a lightning-fast motion. A mother bear can spend hours teaching her cubs how to stalk, how to hold their breath, and how to seize the moment. These survival lessons do more than put food in their mouths. They are what will determine whether the cub lives to see adulthood. There are 3 common fishing techniques that grizzlies use. First, the classic waterfall ambush. This is the most iconic hunting style. When salmon leap up the waterfall, the bear waits at the perfect spot and swings at just the right moment. Second, the stealth swipe. Some clever bears will slowly wade through the shallows, gently scraping their claws through the water. The sudden movement startles the fish, revealing their location, and the bear quickly grabs them. Third, the chaos dive. When salmon are crowded in large numbers, some bears skip finesse entirely. They plunge into the water, create panic, and snatch whatever they can. It is less precise, but if the salmon are exhausted, it still works. Some bears even learn how to tell male salmon from females, and they often go for the females first, because their bellies are full of eggs, the richest source of protein. That level of precision shows that bears do not just rely on raw instinct. They learn, they practice, and they improve their skills year after year. There are a few places on Earth that are considered grizzly bear fishing paradises, locations so legendary that just saying the name brings to mind an image of bears lined up in the river with salmon flying through the air like fireworks. At the top of the list is Brooks Falls in Katmai National Park, Alaska. It is considered the main stage for the most famous fishing scenes on the planet. Every summer, tens of thousands of salmon try to leap over the nearly 2-meter-high falls to continue their journey. And at the top of that waterfall, like a natural barricade, are the grizzlies, waiting. They do not fight for space. Each bear picks its ideal spot. The seasoned ones choose exactly where the fish will land. Some bears do not even have to move. The salmon jump straight into their mouths. These moments, captured in slow motion, never fail to awe viewers around the world. Beyond Brooks Falls, there are hidden forest streams in the wilds of Alaska, or shallow tidal flats in British Columbia, Canada. Each spot requires a different strategy. In shallow water, bears do not need to wait for leaping fish. They wade in and scoop them from the bottom. In steep areas, they climb rocks, grip tree roots, and balance themselves against the rushing current. And because these places are so rich in fish, the number of bears gathering can climb into the dozens, even the hundreds. Every salmon season is a golden opportunity, but also a brutal competition. Not every bear is a skilled fisherman, not every salmon is easy to catch, and not every spot guarantees success. When so many bears gather in one area, competition is inevitable. The larger, stronger bears take the best spots, like the top of the falls, where fish often get thrown into the air. Smaller or less experienced bears are forced to back off, or try to fight their way in. These confrontations are fast, fierce, and sometimes vicious. A full-grown male can charge another over a single fish. The slapping paws, the growls, the splashing water. It all creates a chaotic scene, pulsing with adrenaline and raw survival instincts. Cubs often get pushed to the margins, unable to reach the fish. Mother bears with young ones must constantly move to avoid trouble, while still trying to teach their cubs how to fish. Some bears survive the entire season just by scavenging leftovers from better hunters. And success is never guaranteed. A bear can stand for hours, an entire day, without catching a single fish. There are failed swipes, close calls, salmon slipping through claws at the last second. All of it is part of the game. These failures drain energy, test patience, and sometimes make the entire hunt seem pointless. Without salmon, grizzlies cannot survive. That is not an exaggeration. Salmon are not just food. They are the only ticket that gets the bear through hibernation with enough stored energy. When the fishing season begins, a fully grown bear can eat between 30 to 40 salmon a day. But not to feel full. They eat to build fat, the only fuel that keeps their body going through months of freezing temperatures, dehydration, and slowed metabolism. A grizzly can increase its body weight by as much as 50% in just a few weeks if the salmon supply is strong. That fat layer not only keeps them warm, it keeps their internal organs functioning at a minimal level throughout their winter sleep. Without it, they would die before spring arrives. Salmon also affect reproduction. A female bear needs to store a minimum amount of fat before she can successfully carry a pregnancy. In the wild, fertilization only happens if her body senses the right conditions to support a fetus. If she doesn't eat enough, the embryo simply doesn't develop. It is nature's strict way of making sure only the strongest individuals pass on their genes. And it goes beyond that. Salmon even impact the forest. After eating, bears leave fish carcasses along the stream banks and scatter their droppings. The nutrients from the salmon, especially nitrogen, soak into the soil, feeding trees, grasses, and entire ecosystems that depend on the forest. In a way, bears are nature's delivery system, carrying nutrients from the ocean back to the land. So every time a bear catches a fish, it is not just a meal. It is a crucial link in a much bigger life chain. From river to ocean, from ocean to forest, and back to the bear again. When the salmon season ends, the grizzlies begin to retreat. Their bellies are full, their bodies heavy, their fur thick, and their systems loaded with energy. That is the result of countless tireless hours by the freezing stream. But not every bear makes it. Some enter winter underweight, lacking fat, with weakened immune systems. Their chance of survival narrows with each passing day. The salmon run is a life or death checkpoint. If a bear fails to catch enough fish, it cannot store enough fat. If it lacks fat, it cannot reproduce. And if the salmon disappear, the food chain breaks, the ecosystem collapses, and the grizzlies vanish. That is why behind every swipe, every claw that pulls a fish from the water is a fierce race against time and instinct. Every second by the river is nature's test. Who is faster? Who is smarter? Who is more determined? That is who survives. It is not the biggest bear that lives. It is the one that catches the most fish. It is not the weakest salmon that gets caught. It is the one that jumps half a second too soon. In this game of survival, nature leaves no room for chance, and the grizzly bear, with dripping snout, sharp eyes, and powerful, tireless limbs, is the living answer to one simple question. How do you survive when everything is working against you? As you have just seen, the answer lies in a single silent strike, right in the heart of the waterfall.